Welcome to Psychic Insights, where pop culture meets higher consciousness and the tea is always a little bit mystical. I'm Robin Richardson, your psychic girlfriend, and around here we don't just watch the drama unfold. We read the energy behind it, whether it's celebrity scandals, reality TV, chaos, or true crime with a twist. I'm tuning in to bring you the intuitive scoop, the headlines miss. So buckle up, because your aura's about to get entertained. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. This is your psychic girlfriend, Robin Richardson. And I just was listening to Loud Little Ducky's episode on the Napkin Lady. She's great, actually. I love the Loud Little Ducky. But this is something that was interesting to me because I had been curious about this Napkin Lady. And if you're new to the channel, I'm talking about Laura Owens, the continuing saga of all the strange events of Laura Owens. Honestly, it could be a mini-series. I think it's going to be a documentary. But this is a really puzzling piece, and just to kind of recap what the Napkin Lady's about. This woman is supposedly someone who passed Laura a note on an Icelandic flight when she was traveling with Mike Marraccini, telling her she was being abused, and left her email. Not her phone number, because, God knows, when you're in an emergency situation, you give somebody your email. So that's like the first kind of weird situation. So apparently, according to Mike Marraccini, when he was being interviewed by Megan Fox, you can go find that interview. It's fascinating. I'll probably link it in the description if I remember. Mike was talking about like how this trip came about when Laura basically bought the tickets and coerced him into going because, Laura can't ever take no for an answer or actually check in with her boyfriend, or I think he was on his way out. So she probably knew, and this is going to be the way to try to rope him right back in. A trip to Iceland, maybe a swim in the Blue Lagoon. If you've never done that, it's pretty cool. But Laura is unstable, and so she was basically creating drama, according to him, on the airplane, and he was trying to calm her down and whatever. So, according to Laura, according to the Napkin Lady story, which appeared in the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and Laura wrote a story in there too, and it just sort of is like, what? Like, wait, does everybody write Chicken Soup for the Soul stories? Apparently, this woman, the Napkin Lady, her name is Karen Ambro Bernatis, or at least that was her pen name in this riveting story in the Chicken Soup for the Soul. Okay, but here's the question. Is Karen a real person? Or was this Laura telling a story? Another story, just because Laura does these things. And now remember, these are my psychic insights, my personal opinions. Take them with a spiritual grain of salt. You know me, I had to check my cards because, I love that. I use the Lenormand cards because they like to tell me a little story. And so this is what came through. And I basically asked the question, like, what's the deal with this? And is this woman real? I mean, is she a real person? Did she really do this? Did she write this story? You get the picture, right? So the cards I pulled were, to begin with, Tower, Mice, Sneaky Snake. Tower and Mice and Snake are a structure that looks official, but it's deceptive. and eroding from within. Whenever we get mice, we get erosion. And the next I pulled key and child. Key and child. And that means the truth lies in something created, like a story crafted from scratch. And the next is heart, cross, and clover. And in this case, this would be emotional manipulation packaged as a miracle coincidence. And then I pulled another layer because I was like, I got to go deeper on this. And I got crossroads and fox. Whenever we see fox, we get like some fraud, perhaps. And we got woman and moon. So crossroads and fox is like a deliberate choice to be cunning or sly. And then the woman in the moon is Laura shaping her reputation and public image through a story. Now remember, Laura likes to be a victim. You would think that woman would be tired of it already. Energetically, this message was loud. That this wasn't an outside witness. This was Laura shaping the narrative. So let's look at the name itself. Karen Ambro Bernatis. Karen is everyone, every woman, especially, those kind of women. And it's pretty generic, and it's can be relatable. And Ambro has that almost poetic, made-up vibe. And Bernatis sounds European, but energetically doesn't hold the weight of a lived lineage. So when I tune into this name, I feel it's hollow, like a paper mask, much like a napkin. And it doesn't carry energetic weight of like an imprint of a real identity. It feels more like a pseudonym and possibly chosen to make this story sound more legitimate. Here's what I see. I think Laura wrote the story herself under a pseudonym to reinforce her victim narrative. Why? To gain public sympathy. She wanted to be seen as this victim who's risen above things, and she's did her TEDx talk, and she's written these stories in Chicken Soup for the Soul, and she wanted to anchor herself as the wounded heroine. She continues to do this through her patterns, to use the credibility of Chicken Soup for the Soul as a stage for her story. Now, the editors didn't fact check because that brand thrives on coincidence, heartstrings, and inspiration. And I'm going to say, I assume that the editors didn't fact check. They weren't looking for proof, they were looking for feeling. So the story slipped through, polished and dramatic, but not authentic. Now, this isn't just about the Napkin Lady. It's about the archetype Laura plays. The innocent victim, the wounded child, the one who always has this miraculous witness, a perfect stranger, or a stroke of fate to validate her suffering. And when we peel back the layers, it looks like those miracles are often written by her own hand. Her miracle babies, by the way. Remember, with Clayton Echard, they did not have the kind of relations that you need to create a child. So these miracle twins, well, they never happened. Anyway, so what do you think? Was Karen a real woman, or was this Laura in disguise? Drop your thoughts in the comment section and stay tuned for more. And thanks to Loud Little Ducky for covering it, because it had been something I had thought about, but her video made a lot of sense to me to do this today. So next time we'll be back with something more Laura related, God knows what's up with that chick, but there is more coming for her. And send some good love to Mike Marraccini. He really got on board this crazy train, and I hope that he's able to get off safely and enjoy the rest of his life away from her energy. So stay tuned, like and subscribe, and if you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do so at my website, yourpsychicgirlfriend.com, and I'll see you in the next one.